really know what happened on October 7th. You think you do, but believe me, you don't. You've been lied to. We all have. The Zionist media has presented this event to the world as a Holocaust against innocent civilians. But the story couldn't be more different. The Zionists have been lying because they are terrified of what actually happened. You see, October 7th is one of the biggest ongoing cover-ups in recent memory. A grand lie to distract you from the truth. And it's been working. People have either bought into the atrocity propaganda lies, or they're too busy trying to disprove it. Palestinians didn't behead babies, didn't put babies in ovens, didn't rape women, they didn't torture civilians. So many of us have been so focused on what didn't happen on October 7th. What we need to do now is focus on what did happen, because Israel is terrified of the truth. And I'll let you in on a little secret. The truth that I'm about to reveal to you is what will destroy the Zionist regime, that will free Palestine. Yes, it's that serious. By the end of this video, you will understand why. Now, let's get to it. What really happened on October 7th, and why has Israel tried to cover it up? The truth is that on October 7th, resistance fighters from Gaza carried out a daring military operation against a juggernaut, and they succeeded. Israel, in its hubris, had begun to believe that the Palestinian movement was uninterested in armed resistance. From within the confines of their concentration camps, underdogs from Gaza had to avoid detection from constant surveillance by satellites, informants, collaborators, motion detection and seismic sensors, and 24/7 monitoring by 2G phone networks, border cameras, and overhead drones. They undermined Israel's security apparatus by planning details on pen and paper, feeding false information to informants, and leveraged Israeli arrogance and complacency to plan and operate relatively undetected. In the early hours of October 7th, a blitz of over 2,200 rockets were fired at the Iron Dome missile defense system. But this was only truly meant to provide the cover needed to fly drones over the $1 billion Iron Wall and destroy the remote-controlled machine gun turrets and communication towers. They rammed through the first layer of the fence and then created over 20 separate breach points through the main Iron Wall. Their immediate objectives: take out important nearby command and control military sites, and do so as quickly as possible before the Israelis could respond. So they split into small divisions and raced to their targets. Speedboats raced across the ocean and onto the beaches of Ekim'de, while paragliders flew over the wall and landed in various areas. Guys on beat-up motorcycles and pickup trucks used homemade anti-tank missiles to take out $3 million Merkava tanks and $20 million Apache helicopters. They conquered Re'im military base, an important communications and drone surveillance headquarters, killing or capturing all the soldiers inside before destroying the server rooms. According to Scott Ritter, Hamas struck the headquarters of the Gaza division, the local intelligence hub, and other major command and control facilities with brutal precision, turning what should have been a 5-minute response time into many hours. More than enough time for Hamas to carry out one of its primary objectives, the taking of hostages, to use as exchange for the near 5,000 men, women, and children rotting in Israeli administrative detention centers, returning to Gaza with more than 230 Israeli soldiers and civilians. The result was a complete rout of local Israeli military forces. For hours, the Israelis were completely in the dark, confused as to where the attack was even coming from. Thousands of rockets were in the air, dozens of bases and military settlements, aka kibbutz, were captured, and multiple helicopters and tanks were destroyed. The attack came so hard and so fast that many IDF soldiers were still in their pajamas as the resistance fighters entered the barracks. How could these half-starved and besieged fighters have the gall to escape their prison and carry out an attack like this? No one in Israel could have imagined it, let alone expected. Desperate to respond, the Israelis began to implement scorched earth tactics. Their helicopters began firing Hellfire missiles and machine gun rounds indiscriminately at vehicles and people running in the fields. fields. Tanks rolled through the kibbutz and main roads and shelled houses as ground troops exchanged fire with militants. This led to the deaths of many civilians. It was the most humiliating defeat in Israel's history and has created an internal political crisis that could break the Israeli government for good. Netanyahu, desperate to hold on to power, is exchanging accusations with the military and intelligence apparatus, as neither want to take responsibility for the humiliating defeat. Tens of thousands of Israeli protesters are in the streets demanding that Israel agree to a hostage swap with the Palestinians in order to save their family members. And the crisis is external as well. The Palestinians have reawakened a spirit of resistance in the face of an ongoing military occupation.
Resistance has proven its value. This is one of the chants we've been hearing from Palestinians here who have been protesting in support of the prisoners' exchange deal.
The Israelis thought they could expand the illegal occupation, steal more land, build more settlements, erect more walls, arrest more children, increase surveillance, siege, starve, and bomb Gaza to hell, and desecrate the holy Al-Aqsa Mosque without any blowback or consequences. The Israelis implemented a policy of brutality and deterrence instead of one of peace, justice, and diplomacy. And it worked for a time. Palestinians had become complacent with the status quo, and the Muslim world was betraying the Palestinian cause and normalizing with Israel. But Hamas undermined all of this with their bold act of resistance on October 7th. The illusion of Israeli power has now been shattered. The veil has been lifted.
Power resides where men believe it resides. It's a trick, a shadow on the wall.
On October 7th, they exposed Israel's power for what it is, a trick, a shadow on the wall. And this terrifies Israel because despite all their wealth, power, and resources, they cannot defeat an opponent that won't go down. The Israelis were shocked on October 7th because they thought the fight was over. After 75 years of brutality, 75 years of occupation, of violence, they thought they had won. They thought the leadership of the Palestinian resistance had been cowed into submission. For all their walls, drones, bombs, sensors, radars, cameras, bullets, rockets, and jets, the Palestinian will to resist persists. It always has, and it always will. As Omar Mukhtar, the legendary resistance fighter, said, it's win or die. It's victory or martyrdom. This is a spirit that has reawakened in the Palestinians and their diaspora on October 7th. And this is why the Israelis are terrified.
There was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
This is why they have responded with a disgusting level of collective punishment.
So who is the weaker species? Ants don't serve grasshoppers. It's you who need us. We're a lot stronger than you say we are. And you know it, don't you?
Gaza was the little ant that stood up. We cannot allow them to fight alone. This is not a call for violence. It is a call for mass civil unrest and protest all over the world. We must spread the word and let everyone know. Their system is breaking. It's been breaking for decades. This is the moment. We must apply pressure until we break it. If they wish to enslave the Palestinians, we must make them fight for it. And if we wish for Palestine to be free, we must fight for them. So let's keep fighting and see who taps out first.